I like what I just heard. I think you grasp this issue well, and I would very much like to hear about what others have done, especially in the financial space. I wouldn't have thought of that, but you're right. They are good at capturing new business. We need this kind of broad thinking, and please do provide us some information on analytics. Our CMO is asking about this every day. We have some processes in place, but this is an area that needs to be looked at, not just for this project, but across the board. Harold, please make sure they get what they need, and get back to me immediately when you hear back. And if you need to reach out to me, feel free, call me.
I'm sure they will, Phyllis. Thank you. I hope you can get some good information for us. Thanks. I think that is a good idea. I would like to hear what your other customers have done.
I agree. I'd like to hear what the financial customers have done. They do have a similar problem and are very good at getting new customers and building loyalty. I'm game for that. Can you get back to Harold and let him know what you find out? As far as the foundation stuff, that's not my area, so I'll leave that to you, Harold.
Will do, Phyllis. Thanks for joining us.
Harold?
I'm sorry, Phyllis. Let me take this and I will get you some fast answers. Give me a few hours and I think I know who I can call. Sorry, Betsy. Thanks for your help today. Let's reschedule lunch for another time. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you reaching out to me as we have been heads down since Tuesday. Thanks for joining us in that meeting, and I'm glad we could reschedule this one. Having you there kept everything professional, and Phyllis was intrigued by your response to her question. I hope you're prepared to back that up. Now let me bring you up to date. The situation from our end is pretty much under control. Jack Pesto, our CIO, and I have a plan, and management is comfortable with it. But I would like to hear more about what you found. Plus, we can explore some of our broader needs with infrastructure. Would this be okay with you?
Absolutely. We're happy to be here.
Well, my job is to make sure that we have the right infrastructure to support the many divisions of the company. Since we are a global company, we have to have services available 24/7 with the support for the branch facilities, wherever they may be. The catering and food distribution business is the largest part of the organization with the most facilities and infrastructure needs, although the restaurants are starting to really show some promise. We have a lot of different vendors' solutions, which is both good and bad. We can get the best from each vendor, but then we have the challenge of them all working together. We use SAP for our ERP, Oracle database, and we have a custom catering solution that we wrote 15 years ago that has been doing well. We use Salesforce.com for CRM. We implemented a data warehouse with Teradata and get pretty good results. We also have some data analysis happening on operational data. We have done quite a bit of consolidation over the years, but it seems to always blossom out again, if you know what I mean. Ideally, we want to standardize on one solution, but that may take some doing, if it's even possible. The CIO has been pushing me for ways to improve productivity, provision solutions faster, and of course the usual get costs down. As you saw, we are under constant pressure from the business units to deliver, sometimes on unrealistic requests, which has forced me to look outside for answers. That is why we are having this conversation. There was no specific agenda for today's meeting. With that said, what can you do to support us?
Thank you for the opportunity, Harold. I brought along some examples of solutions that might align with your needs for mobile access. I will leave them with you so that you can share them with Phyllis.
What else can I answer for you? Well, we feel we have a great working relationship. Yes, there are times when the business units are frustrated with us, but what happened Tuesday is kind of unique. We do hear that sometimes they think we are slow to respond. but they don't always understand what it takes to deploy an application or a mobile app with security and make it available to them at all times with good performance. I'm sure you know what I mean. The problem stems from a lack of true communication, but we have a tough job to do. And to be honest, you can't please everyone all the time. Like any large company, it's hard to change that in a company's culture. Plus, many of our business units operate as islands inside the business, and that becomes an issue. Often, it's easier to say something isn't happening rather than coming to us and explaining what is really needed and why. Some of the groups have people that we work with, some don't. With the ones that do, I can work with and prioritize resources better. My biggest issue is that we always hear about what they need after decisions have occurred, and we are on the tail end of trying to respond. So we often don't get the right information at the right time. Hence, we struggle to just keep up with demand rather than having an optimized plan by working more proactively. As to how we are dealing with it, we are trying to coordinate more planning meetings, and Jack Pesto, our CIO, has been taking a more proactive role. Well, that's a broad question. I would say we have a lot of different needs. I don't call them challenges, except for maybe the lack of budget, but that is the norm. So if we are talking about infrastructure needs, I would have to say upgrading our data center technology. We are constantly buying disk, updating software releases, licensing, patching, dealing with BYOD, bring your own device, addressing security, etc. From our users' point of view, the main issue is keeping up with all the trends and making sure they can access the information they need at any time. Everything from inventory lists, customer data, to pricing, buying habits, new marketing tools, and suppliers' interfaces. Then we have a completely different solution for distribution to stores, to restaurants, and supporting the catering side of the business. Some of our customers are actually transporting our goods, and often the goods are perishable. Got to track that. It can be a real challenge. I am sure you've heard this from every IT department. Data and information requirements are growing exponentially, and this data is generating new demands for better intelligence, which translates to new workloads for IT. What else? Well, we have to do threat and security management, not just financial risk, credit, fraud, and shoplifting. All of it needs to be tracked, stored, and coordinated through IT. Business unit demands, especially marketing, are creating more and more pressure to release new applications. Just the other day, marketing came up with this idea to allow customers to use their mobile phones or tablets to pre-order meals at our fresh and healthy cafes, which are in our stores. They want it running by next quarter. So the opportunities, or as you call them, challenges, are many. So we need to approach the problems differently than we have in the past. I'm considering a cloud strategy to help us, but there are security and cost concerns. So we may need to think about providing an internal private cloud. If we had more time and money, we would be more flexible and could deliver more value to the business units. But they just don't get it. Sorry, you hit on a hot spot for me. Cloud might be the answer, but we have a lot of homework to do first. Many of our applications are just not cloud ready. Plus, the public cloud will cause us compliance issues in countries that don't allow data outside their borders. In the meantime, we just keep adding and adding disk. Then, for cloud, who is my partner? IBM? HP? Oracle? Amazon? Google? Even AT&T was in the other day with Cisco. Cloud is a big thing. Right now, we buy some services such as Salesforce.com. We have other solutions as well, especially for web marketing. Regarding mobile, we're in discussions with marketing at the moment, as you and Betsy heard in our previous conversation. Basically, they want the same thing as Luby's has. It enables end customers to customize their meals on chips and at resorts via a menu on their phone or tablet. We don't know if they bought that or built it. Regarding the cloud and our infrastructure needs, how could you help us? What would be your recommendations? Great response. I like this data center agenda. We actually use that term ourselves. You're right too. Economics plays a big part in what we can and cannot do. And if we could get support of the business units, especially in the form of budget, then we could get a lot more done. I would be interested in hearing more about the solutions that you offer. We have been testing some applications in the cloud, but have not made it a top priority yet. Of course, that doesn't count Salesforce.com. We have actually tested some Amazon-hosted servers. They work surprisingly well, especially since we have to distribute resources around the world. I agree with your statement that we need to make marketing a priority. I have been tasked to do just that by Jack, my boss. This is where you could be a big help to us. I need to know everything I can about what other companies are doing with mobile and social, and how they are handling BYOD. I like this conversation. Let's continue. I agree that a little more research on our environment would be good. I'm not sure how we got to talking about a converged solution, but it is not a bad idea. The biggest problem is the costs of doing it. I agree with finding out what the business is looking for, but not first. We have a lot of infrastructure needs that take priority. Of course, those are all in alignment to the business. We have to keep things running. I don't really care how many years of experience you have. Once upon a time, you couldn't get fired for buying IBM. But today, that's no longer the case. The smartest IT manager buy whatever is best for their business. So, do me a favor and stay away from those kinds of statements. As far as an in-depth study, I will need to discuss that with Jack. He was concerned that this meeting might be a waste of time. I'm not as pessimistic. Let's see how things go as we move forward. Anyway, let's continue. Yeah, that's nice. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed in your response. I could have read that on the web. I was hoping that after the other day, you would have something of value to share with me. Jack was right. Oh well, can't say I'm really happy with how things are going, but let's continue. I spend most of my time, unfortunately, putting out fires. It's hard to have a clear view of the situation to architect a better plan. I have immediate needs to upgrade a number of our older x86 servers, and I'm considering my options for which vendor to use. My plan first is to upgrade the x86 technology. I also have to work on the VMware licenses, so it is top priority. We also have been trying to figure out what to do with the Windows XP PC. Right now, we have gone into a contract with Microsoft to continue to support them. Very expensive. We have a virtual PC test going on now. This is taxing our servers, but it looks promising. If we roll that out, we will have to grow the infrastructure to include servers, storage, and an upgrade for our network. Don't know yet if this is going to be funded. I have to build a better mobile strategy. And of course, we need to find unique apps so that we can beat our competition to market. While doing all of this, I somehow need to decrease operating costs and support new cloud computing plans. I have trouble trying to work this out. To answer your question specifically, we are aligned to the operational needs of the business. We try our best to respond to specific new initiatives. How does that align to our budget? Operational first, then new projects. But budget is not the only issue. We also have to have time to build new solutions. Do you have any ideas or suggestions for how you could help? Of course, without costing me. Challenges? Well, I don't know if I would call them challenges. Sometimes our capacity just can't meet the demand. We have a lot of different technology and some of our x86 servers are aged, but we mostly are able to meet demand. You probably heard about the outage the other day, which I'm sure prompted the question. That was unfortunate, and it did come during a peak time. We got overloaded and just couldn't respond fast enough. Our users are so used to getting instant access. It's been addressed. We must keep our operational applications available 24/7. But who doesn't these days? We are also looking at a way to add capacity on demand to handle some of the new business solutions being requested. Where we are concerned is with some of the customer data and analysis that is growing so quickly. If we are successful in giving marketing what they want, we will in turn be taxing the infrastructure. So, we need a way to isolate or manage that more effectively. Ideally, I would like to have a totally integrated approach to the design, development, and testing of each and every server, blade, or compute node to ensure the scalability and resiliency meet the needs of the business. I am sure you asked this question for a reason. What do you have that can help us here? No, I really haven't. We like the System Z and it does run really well, but it is also really expensive as a server. The applications are costly and the cost of the system compared to our x86 servers is absurd. To be honest with you, we have been trying to figure out a way to phase it out and move everything to our VMware servers. Capacity is a very large issue for us, but I just don't have a budget to move this to System Z. What can I say? But you've been pretty good at listening and making suggestions. If I were to consider it, what benefit would I gain and how would I be able to afford it? In any storage environment, utilization could be better. Capacity planning is tough and the data is growing exponentially. To tell you the truth, you don't always know what comes next. We plan for the worst and hope for the best. Last week, we got hit with an end of quarter that really surprised us. Performance was abysmal. We pointed to a router failure, but it was a combination of things. Not having the right data store accessible at the right moment, older servers that need upgrading and not enough tier 1 disk to bring everything online in time. So, am I satisfied? Generally, yes, but it could be better. Storage is the biggest piece of my budget, so I would like to see better utilization. As far as flash, we have been looking at some flash technologies. We have a few products in pilot, but nothing on a large scale. The cost is still too high and we are worried about compatibility. Our storage vendor, EMC, tells us that we should take this slowly and they're providing us an education. If you have something of interest, I would like to hear about it. What could you offer me that I don't already get from my current vendor? I think that is a fair assessment. And while I don't usually like being compared to other companies, I have to agree that there are similar issues. I like what I hear about your platform and the capabilities. It could be a good solution to our needs. If you think you can accomplish all this within budget together with our new workloads, then I would be foolish not to listen. What else can I answer for you? Well, okay. I thought we would be talking about what you can do to help me with the overall architecture. I like what you said, and it has a lot of great capabilities. But to be honest, so do all the vendors. Now, I know you do this with other customers, but we are unique in our requirements. I do like your enthusiasm, though. Go ahead and get me a proposal. That way I can compare it against the other vendors. Budget is a big concern for us. What other questions do you have? Well, that's nice. I'm glad you have the answer with your product. That was a lot to digest, and I probably could have gotten it out of a brochure. I thought you were better than this, especially after the other day. Guess I assumed wrong. Your answer was a bit arrogant for me, and I really don't appreciate the attitude. You know, I am very busy. Let's just call this meeting to a close. I don't think you really care about our needs. You're just here selling something. I need partners that help me solve our challenges, and you obviously don't get that. Well, that's a big question and can cover a lot of areas. In some areas, yes, and some no. Data is our biggest challenge. We have a ton of it, and it is growing exponentially. Our next challenge is accessing it quickly and efficiently, followed by processing it. Of course, we have to know what data to look at, and that is sometimes a challenge. Our operational data is being analyzed by our Teradata warehouse, but we are getting more and more demand from the business units for access to a broader set of data. They are now on the big data path. How they can better understand our customers' buying habits, but more importantly, how we can understand the customers' buying habits. It is a real challenge for processing, storing, and retrieving data. Another issue is power, cooling, and space. Our data centers are required to support increasingly dense configurations. And I guess our ability to respond rapidly to new requests is a hot button for Jack. He is getting a lot of pressure to be more cloud-like in our infrastructure. I think he has that under control. What do I think we could do better? I think if we could optimize and consolidate some of our platforms we have, servers, storage, and even the network, we would be able to spend less time on the infrastructure and more on these new initiatives. The demands that marketing and the other business units are placing on us often require us to drop our own priorities just to keep up. When I attended the Gartner conference last year, it seemed that a lot of us were dealing with the same issues. And, to our surprise, there were entire teams and programs dedicated to marketing involvement in IT. So, I guess that is the new normal. Well, the requests are not out of control. We do get asked to take on new projects, which we have a process for. A request is made and we scope it. I know that some of the business units would like to see it faster, but we can't jump in and make mistakes. As far as automation, at this point, not a lot. Other than virtualization and load balancing, which are managed by our vCenter and other virtualization teams, our storage is not virtualized. There are a lot of things to consider as we launch new initiatives, such as system utilization, data and proximity, security, and workload demands. Seasonality is really important for us and how the customer wants to access data, such as via mobile devices, desktop, etc. These take time and planning, otherwise we end up with a mess. To address this, we have been looking into how we could build a more self-serve infrastructure, a private cloud. We've been discussing a pilot. Right now, we have 3 applications in the public cloud. 2 are CRM related, 1 for sales and the other for the web-based marketing campaigns. The third is an IaaS implementation, filling the gap before we upgrade our equipment. So, while we do have a cloud strategy, it is still early in its design and deployment. We know we have to become more adaptive, but we have a very complex environment. What I am looking at is ways or a strategy for a more adaptive, simplified, and more responsive infrastructure, and, if possible, for a better price. Well, we have heard about it. It sounds very interesting. I personally think it has obvious advantages and there could be a lot of benefits to the model. But to get there seems monumental. I am not sure how it aligns to our current investment or future technology purchasing or our cloud strategy. I think it might be a little early. We have had pitches by just about every vendor. VMware, Cisco, and EMC, to name a few. It appears to me that they are all on their own proprietary paths. So while it could have huge advantage, it could also lock us into a single vendor. We have been there before and that is very costly. Right now, our strategy for the data center is stay on the path we have been on, and that is to be flexible and responsive to the business and provide good, solid, and reliable performance in a secure and trustworthy environment. Of course, all of this within our budget. But I would like to know more about software defined and how we should align it to our cloud strategy. Can you provide us information about what you offer and how all this fits together? Interesting. I am aware of OpenStack, but have not really investigated what it would do for me. I like the idea of the software-defined environment, and if you really think it would speed up our ability to deploy cloud capabilities, then I am definitely interested in hearing more. Let's work through the rest of your questions and then set up a meeting between you, myself, and Jack. Well, I might bring along a few others as well. This way we can start discussing how we can integrate it into our strategy for the next couple of years. Thank you for listening to my questions and responding to my concerns. There is a lot of good stuff in your description of SDE. I would like to understand it better. I'm a little confused how SDE, Cloud, and OpenStack work together. But I am all for open standards. As I said, we have been caught by proprietary solutions in the past, some of which were yours. We are very cautious about moving forward too quickly. As far as an additional meeting, sure, but I don't think I'm ready to bring Jack in yet. Or what other questions do you have? Okay, your SDE solution sounds interesting, but at some point, you lost me. I really don't understand OpenStack. We have a very complex environment. What I'm looking for is a way or a strategy for a more adaptive, simplified, and responsive infrastructure, and if possible, improved IT economics. I'm beginning to think this is a waste of time. Let's move on. Well, that is an interesting question. I don't think I have had anyone ask me that before. What could you do to earn my trust? Let me answer what I like and don't like about some of our other vendors. Very often, salespeople only care about the product of the day. They really don't understand what it is going to do for me, and, of course, they are under pressure to close the deal. So they rush us through our decisions. Basically, they don't listen, except for key things that fit their products. Because of that, we are buying products. We may need that product, but it doesn't fit into a solution. What I like about one company in particular is how they listen to our challenges and come back with suggestions that make business sense for us. They understand our market, and often they will call with insights they have gained and are not looking for the sale. In turn, they get it because we trust them. So, for you to gain our trust, I would recommend the same kind of approach. You're a big company with lots of customers. There have to be things that you are doing around the world that could help us. Do that, and you will earn that trust and become a partner. I hope I answered that question. And by the way, asking it raised you up at least a little in my book. Thank you. They said that? I can't believe it. We work very hard to be responsive. I take insult with this. You had no business snooping around and encouraging this kind of conversation. You have provided me some really good information, but this crossed the line. I forbid you from sharing anything you heard with anyone else. If you do, you can count on your days at Fresh and Healthy being at end. Please leave. I am not interested in continuing this conversation. Well, sure. We are a VMware shop. I think you know this, though. We use a lot of your gear along with other vendors' x86 servers. A few years back, we instituted some strict policies around provisioning, resource utilization, and types of VMs that are in the production line. We stripped out some racks for development activity. This policy improved our ability to meet SLAs. So, that is working really well. What would I like to see improved? Density would be a big plus, and better memory utilization. We are looking at how to take advantage of data more efficiently. Right now, the servers talk to big disk arrays. We are considering a Hadoop to allow us to distribute processing of large data sets across our servers. This could be a big win for improving our analytics capabilities. Anything you can do to help here would be welcome. Yes, we do have a data warehouse. We implemented it about 5 years ago, and it has provided us some valuable insight. It has worked, but now marketing has been pushing us very hard to improve it and to have an even better way to gain customer intimacy. They want to start leveraging large data sets or big data to gain knowledge about buying habits, timing trends, and, in the catering business, food preferences. You heard what happened the other day. The key was that subterranean cruise lines could buy supplies smarter, cutting their costs. They suggested by 20%. That's the kind of thing marketing and the business want to discover. That information came from somewhere. To facilitate this, we are looking at moving to a Linux-based solution with Hadoop. Our concern is whether our x86 platforms can handle it. We have been talking with Oracle, and they are suggesting an Exadata with their new Spark processor. They said they can outperform any other vendor's platforms, including yours, when it comes to big data analysis. I must say it is interesting. What I want to improve is our ability to analyze data quickly and efficiently. I want to be able to look at unstructured data and provide our users with actionable insights. So if you have something, don't be shy about sharing it with us. Yes, we do have a data warehouse. We implemented it about 5 years ago, and it has provided us some valuable insight. It has worked, but now marketing has been pushing us very hard to improve it and to have an even better way to gain customer intimacy. They want to start leveraging large data sets or big data to gain knowledge about buying habits, timing trends, and, in the catering business, food preferences. You heard what happened the other day. The key was that subterranean cruise lines could buy supplies smarter, cutting their costs. They suggested by 20%. That's the kind of thing marketing and the business want to discover. That information came from somewhere. To facilitate this, we are looking at moving to a Linux-based solution with Hadoop. Our concern is if our x86 platforms can handle it. We have been talking with Oracle, and they are suggesting an Exadata with their new Spark processor. They said they can outperform any other vendor's platforms, including yours, when it comes to big data analysis. They specifically called out moving services off our mainframe and repurposing it on their integrated technology. What I want to improve is our ability to analyze data quickly and efficiently. I want to be able to look at unstructured data and provide our users with actionable insights. So if you have something, don't be shy about sharing it with us. You don't have to tell me that. Storage is our #1 expense. We have seen exponential growth in our data volumes with new requests and data coming from more devices than ever. We are being asked to deploy new analytic solutions so that they can slice it and dice it in dozens of different ways. But we are not sure what data they want, and to be honest, we're not sure where it is. We have a huge data store. We would like to organize it better. It is spread across our newest arrays as well as some older equipment. We have tried tiering and had some success, but it could be better. This is only going to get worse with what you're calling the new generation of data, especially as more devices come online. We have been talking with EMC about cataloging the data and then tiering it. We may even add a little flash, but the cost is so very high. Our focus right now is performance and the delivery of the right information. Marketing sees great opportunity in taking advantage of this customer data and expanding services to mobile devices. If we can deliver to them what they are asking for, they will pay for it, which would be a huge relief to my budget. What I want to improve is our ability to analyze data quickly and efficiently. I want to be able to look at unstructured data and provide our users with actionable insights. So, if you have something, don't be shy about sharing it with us. Well, this has been an interesting meeting. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Let me think about what we've discussed and I'll get back with you. Let me consider scheduling a follow-up meeting. I think I would invite a few others to join us, including Jack, my boss. Hi, you're back. I hope our meeting is more productive this time. I'm doing this because you helped me the other day, but don't think that is a trump card. Please use my time well and keep your questions and responses appropriate, okay? So what questions do you have for me this time?